G'day, I'm Paul. These days you really do not get much car for under $30,000 drive away. And when you look at the size of this and you realise that the Tiggo 4 range starts at just under $24,000 drive away, and we've got the Mahindra XUV 3XO that's starting at around the same price. It just blows you away that they can actually make that work. So today we're going to do a detailed review of this. It is the Chery Tiggo 4. This is the ultimate version, so the top spec. This one's a little more expensive, just under $27,000 drive away. We're going to do detailed review. If you do want to skip ahead to other parts of the video, you can use the time codes that are on the screen. Or if you're on YouTube, you can scroll down and use the chapters below. Now on the design front, we reviewed the Tiggo 8 the other day, and I was saying that it's not sort of overly out there. It is just a nice looking car that's out on the road. It's not quite as sort of stylish as the JQ product, and I think for people who just want something to get around, this is sort of a respectable design. So you've got the Chery logo down here, waterfall grille. A lot of that's closed off for aero, and then this little bit is open for cooling down there. They've actually just launched a hybrid version of this. We'll try and get our hands on that soon for a review as well. Full LED headlights with an LED element down there as well. And then around the side here, it's sitting on a set of 18-inch alloy wheels with a machined finish, red calipers. Wonder if that means it's sporty. We'll see about that. We've got wheel arch cladding there as well. Indicator built into the wing mirror with a camera there for the 360 camera. Got a sunroof, and then come around to the back with me. Now around the back, we've got full LED tail lights. This is kind of the change that they made. They've inserted this section. Chery there and Tiggo 4 down there with black coloured lower bumper. So let me know what you reckon about the design. Do you think it's good value for money? Have you had a look at this and the Mahindra? These are the cheapest SUVs in Australia, so remarkable value for money. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Okay, so we're inside the Tiggo 4. This is what the key looks like. You've got unlock, boot, lock, remote start, and the Chery logo on the top. I know I sound like a broken record here, but you really do not get much car at the moment for under $30,000 drive away. And when you sit inside this, it's like, I don't know, it just seems like incredible value for money. Not a huge fan of the piano black. That is kind of everywhere here through the center. The Tiggo 8, that has this enormous infotainment screen here with their brand new infotainment system that I much prefer the look of compared to this older setup. But, you know, this is still great for what you're getting there. So, what about your touch points? What do they look like? Well, sort of not too bad there, and soft on the door as well. How soft are they? Well, we've got our durometer. We've tested the main surfaces in this cabin. If you do want to see how this car compares to others that we've tested before, there is a link in the description below. Now, build quality. Do my little shake test here. Right, it all feels pretty good to me. Have you owned one of these? What's it been like? Let me know your thoughts. This is what the door slam sounds like. Okay, so let's talk infotainment. You've got a pair of 10.25-inch displays. So one for infotainment, one for driver controls. Infotainment screen is a touchscreen. Now, this looks like a high-end screen as well, but it's actually not. It's for the climate controls, and it's just sort of a digital display, but not like a full LCD like this thing. So what features have you got? This is, as I said, the earlier version of Chery's infotainment system. You do still have smartphone mirroring, wireless with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, so that's Apple CarPlay. You can see it's a tiny bit laggy there as you sort of flick through those, but not too bad. Then down here as well, you've got shortcuts, which is what I like because Apple CarPlay takes up that entire screen. And if you wanted to go back to the home screen, you would have to normally go in here, then click Chery. But what you can do here is just use the shortcuts down the bottom. Just by clicking that, it'll take you back to that main screen. There is also a voice recognition function, and it actually works pretty well. So you can click here or press the voice command button.
I am listening.
Good. Can you please put the driver's side window down by 1/3?
Sorry. This question is beyond my ability.
Okay, I was trying to be a bit clever there. Hold on. Can you please put the driver's side window down halfway?
Sorry, I haven't mastered this skill.
Okay, I promised you that this was good, but it doesn't. I don't know why that's not working.
Please continue.
Lower the.
I don't know this yet. I have to learn it. I don't know this yet. I have to learn it first.
Lower the driver's window.
Okay.
Okay. So it turns out the voice recognition doesn't work that well. Worked great the last time I tested it in a Chery. There you go. I was just trying to show off. Didn't work. So anyway, you've got voice recognition there that sometimes works. And this is what Android Auto looks like. So same thing again, wireless, full screen, a little snappier than Apple CarPlay. On the radio front, you've got AM, FM, DAB, and a 6-speaker sound system. This isn't the last word on sound systems, it's fine, but sort of nothing too crazy. Screen ahead of the driver, sort of basic information. You can actually flick between a couple of the menus here on the screen, including settings, but nothing too crazy in terms of customization. Now, parking, you have front and rear parking sensors and a 360 camera. So show you what that looks like. So that's the front view there. We've got a wide angle front view, rear view. It's actually not terrible. And then you've got a top-down view over there as well. And what have we got here in the settings? A couple of other sort of bits and pieces you can get set up there as well. This is what the horn sounds like. Okay, now practicality, starting with your connectivity. Down here, very awkward spot. You've got USB-C and A charging. 12 volt over on my side. You've got a 15 watt wireless charging pad down here. Little phone holder nook type thing in there. Yeah, fits in nicely. Cup holders, and then a massive glove box there that actually, or center console rather, that actually goes all the way down here as well. So really cool setup and plenty of storage around here. Climate, you have dual zone automatic climate control. You also have heated seats as well. You would think that the heated seats are accessed down here, but they're not. You've got to go up through this menu here, and then you've got to click heated seats over here. It's this tiny little button. I did notice as well before actually that there's a menu here for software updates. So hopefully that is something they can potentially fix with a software update to make some of those buttons a little bit bigger and to make our talking friend work as well. And then on the comfort front, seats, they're actually pretty comfortable and really cool design as well. So you've got a perforated section in the middle there. Nice little bolsters as well. Electric seat adjustment, so you go forwards, backwards. You can move your backrest forwards and backwards. You can lift the back of the seat. Fortunately, you can't lift the front of the seat. And it's a weird thing that I've found across a lot of Chinese market cars. You just cannot lift the front of that seat to get into a comfortable position. But anyway, you do have adjustable steering for both tilt and reach. On our reach test, some of this stuff is hard to reach while you're driving. You've got to sort of lean in to catch the outer edges of that screen. Now, second row, surprising amount of room here. So my seat is pretty far back. Knee room's good. Toe room is okay, but not amazing. Headroom is pretty good. Nothing too major back here. So you've got map pockets there. You've got USB-A connectivity and a little slot there for devices. Center armrest as well. You know, you look at the price of this car and I just can't get my head around how these guys and Mahindra with the new XUV 3XO can build a car like this for such a cheap amount. So you've got the labor costs, the material costs, shipping costs. There's so much work that goes into getting the car here to where we are right now. So yeah, it is incredible value for money, and it just doesn't feel cheap and nasty. So, all right, window test. Does it go all the way down? So it's auto up and down. So close. Okay, cargo space. What does it look like? Let's have a little look. So it's a manual tailgate. It's actually not sort of too bad. About 400 litres available there, and then beneath the cargo floor you've got a space saver spare. Not really much room for anything else in there. Safety triangle over there. If you do want more space though, you can drop the second row, and when that is gone, you've got over 1,200 litres of space, which is not an entirely flat floor. All right, we've just hit the road in the Tiggo for what is it like to drive Australia's, or one of Australia's most affordable SUVs. So let's start off with what is under the bonnet, the thing that is powering this vehicle. It is a pint-sized engine, so 1.5 litre turbocharged 4-cylinder petrol engine. It doesn't make a great deal of power, just over 100 kilowatts and a little over 200 newton meters of torque. But you've got to remember that this is a fairly light vehicle, so it's not like you need an enormous amount of power. How does it all feel behind the wheel? Well, it's mated to a CVT, a continuously variable transmission. If you haven't driven a car with a CVT before, it moves the car just like you would normally move a car, but the difference is in the way it feels behind the wheel. A traditional transmission has stepped gears and you can feel it going up and down through those gears. A CVT basically infinitely changes its gear ratio depending on where the throttle position is. So it means that if you do want it to move, you give it a kick, you'll see the revs go up and it stays within its torque band, and away it goes. And this is a pretty punchy little engine. So even though it only makes just over 100 kilowatts of power, it actually feels nice and responsive behind the wheel. And I mean, it's under 1,500 kilos, so it's not a huge amount of weight to be moving around. Now let's talk about fuel economy. Chery claims a combined average of a little over 7 litres per 100 Ks. We're currently sitting on around 10, which is, that to me is a bit on the higher side. Even 7 is sort of getting up there. They do have a hybrid version of this car that has just been launched, so I'm keen to have a drive of that. That should bring that number down a bit. That is something you're going to hear a lot of as well, beeping and bonging, and as far as I can tell, you can't switch off the driver distraction monitor. I've checked all through the settings here and I can't find anything. So if there is a way to do it, let me know in the comments section, but that does keep going off every now and then, which is a little bit frustrating. Likewise, the speed alert, which you can switch off, thank goodness. It is par for the course in a lot of these Chinese market cars and a lot of new cars today. To get a 5-star safety rating, they need to have all of the beeps and bongs, and I don't know, in my opinion, it just makes it less safe to operate a car, but anyway. Now let's talk about road noise. So it isn't great. When you are on coarse chip country roads, for example, you do get a fair bit of noise into the cabin, and that is the consequence of getting a car with this price point. You do have to engineer it to a cost, and sound insulation is one of those things they've clearly stripped back on. It's not the end of the world, but we did put it up against our calibrated sound meter, and this is how it went. If you do want to see how this car compares to others in this segment, you can see a link in the description below. Let's chat visibility. It's great. I can see clearly down the front of the car there. The wing mirrors are nice and big. Now, visibility out the rear, it's okay. The envelope is a little narrow, but you can still see around it. What about the ride? Look, it is on the softer side. Again, this is one of those areas where I don't think they've really invested enough in. Brands like GWM, they're doing local ride and handling tuning to take advantage of tuning cars for Australian road conditions. This car hasn't benefited from any local ride and handling tuning as far as I can tell. It still has quite a soft ride to it, and it doesn't feel overly sophisticated. I'll be keen to see what it's like on our sine waves, but it sort of has that sort of floaty vibe to it that I think they would be able to address if they invested in a tune specific to Australia. Okay, it's time to attack our sine waves. We do this at 130 kilometres an hour. It's the maximum speed limit in Australia, and it just gives us a good idea of what body control is like if you're travelling on the highway and you're hitting some of these undulations. So here we go. There's 130. Yeah, it's pretty bouncy and floaty, so it doesn't have that body control, and that links to that local ride and handling tune that it doesn't have. So it's not terrible, but it is just something to take note of if you are driving in the country and hitting some of those undulations. It is going to feel pretty floaty, and it'll feel floatier the more people you have inside the car. Now, bumpy road time. Do this at 90 k's an hour. Simulates a shocking road here in Australia. And we've got a condensed sine wave here to see how it copes with high frequency bumps. So here we go. It actually copes okay with the sine wave, and even here with these bumps, it actually feels pretty comfortable. So that's the benefit of a softer ride. You're getting comfort on this type of road condition, but you just don't get that sophistication when the going gets a little tough. Now there is a sport mode, so let's whack it into sport mode.
It has entered sport mode.
It announces it as well. We're going to go for a ride around the track here. We test all cars back to back in the same way. We do a couple of laps of limit handling to see how they perform when they are pushed to their limits. So I don't expect this to be like a Ferrari or anything, but let's just see what it feels like through the first turn here. A bit of body roll there. Whoop. And some understeer as well. It is pretty damp out there as well, I should add. Yeah, these tyres are really not very good. So the brand is Gitty. I think it's a Chinese brand. They just don't have a great deal of traction, and especially here in wet conditions, they just don't bite anywhere near as a branded tyre. The interesting thing is that some of the Chinese brands are actually using Continental, Michelin, because they do have factories in China, but I think this is an exercise here to save a bit of money on this car, and I think that would be one of the things I'd look to change on the car at its first tyre change interval to much better tyres, because they really do lack the confidence that you want in the wet. And outside of that, on the handling front, yeah, look, it's okay. It's got a fair bit of body roll, but nice and responsive engine. So from that point of view, it's pretty good. Now, time to test the semi-autonomous systems. We use the 3 outer lanes of the bowl here to do that, and it's 70 k's an hour. So I'll set cruise control. Okay, that is set. It keeps switching off the, there we go, okay, that's set now. Actually, it's not a very good system. It's basically straddling the line there. A little bit better. Yeah, it was very lazy sort of getting itself to the centre. See what it's like up here. Okay, so that's gone green. Wait for the steering to go green. Okay, it's now randomly slowing down. How bizarre. It's just not activating at all now. I don't think I'm doing anything wrong. Oh. That's so weird. So it's basically, it activated and then it immediately deactivated and then just went through the lane. Try that one more time. Yeah, it's just not activating at all now. There we go, it's gone green and now stopped. Yeah, that is not a very good system. In fact, that's really not very good at all. I mean, it activated briefly in the first lane and then just stopped after that. So that definitely needs some work. Okie dokie, so let's see what it's like in terms of performance. We're gonna go from 0 to 100, which will go all the way through to 120 so that we can see what our 80 to 120 overtaking time is like as well. It is slightly damp still out there, so I don't expect miracles here. I'm going to switch the stability control off so we can get a clean run without any interference. All right, that's there. I think we're in sport mode.
It has entered economy mode. It has entered sport mode.
There it is. Okay, here we go. A wheel slip off the line. All right, there's 80, 100, and 120. Yeah, nice. It's actually, it doesn't feel terrible. Let's see what kind of time we're looking at. So that was 0 to 100 in 10.28 seconds. So not amazing. 80 to 120, 7.67 seconds. So look, the times are fine for what they are. This isn't a rocket ship by any means. Just keep in mind that if you do load it up with people, it is going to feel slower than that. And to put that time into context, that is around the same pace you're going to get from 0 to 100 in something like a diesel dual cab ute. So that sort of paints a picture of where this sits. Okay, let's do a stop from 100. It is damp out there. I've tried to pick the driest line here, so we'll see how we go. Yeah, unfortunately, there's still parts of that line that are still quite wet. So 100 to 0 in 3.86 seconds and 51.15 metres. So that is a very long stopping distance, but like I said, it is wet out there. If you want to compare this car to others in the segment, there is a link in the description below. Now, pop this into reverse. Let's see how fast it'll go in reverse. Very important test. All right, here we go. So, oh, still gaining speed. Still gaining speed. All right. 60 k's an hour in reverse. Okay, Chery Tiggo 4, stuff that I like. The price, it is so affordable. Big fan of that. Space inside is also excellent. And I think the design's pretty good as well. Design is entirely subjective, but I think it is an inoffensive looking car. Stuff that I didn't like as much, I thought the fuel economy was a little bit on the rough side. It's higher than I thought it was going to be. So we're going to have a drive of the hybrid. We'll see if that's any better. That is more expensive though, so it is just worth keeping that in mind. I don't love those tyres, especially in the wet. I didn't have confidence in them. If you're just driving in and around the city, it's fine, but that is something I'd look at changing over if you are buying one of these at the first tyre change opportunity to a brand that you've heard of and that is going to perform a little better than these do. Outside of that, it is a pretty good vehicle. I think there are a couple of kinks there they need to iron out with the infotainment system. some of the annoying just beeps and the buzzing sounds and the bongs. Let's just get that stuff fixed, please. But in summary, if you were going to spend this kind of money on this, you are getting a lot of car, and they are only some really small compromises you need to make. We're going to have a drive of the Mahindra XUV 3XO soon as well to see how that stacks up against this, because they are battling it out for cheapest SUV in Australia. If you did enjoy this video, please make sure you like it and share it with your mates. And if you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon button. Until next time, take it easy.